We want to welcome Mbong Akiy Fokwa Tsafack from Johannesburg. She's a Pan-African activist and head of communications for Greenpeace Africa. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Linda.
So the oil and gas permits for auction are in areas that are part of UNESCO World Heritage Site, home to some of the Earth's last remaining mountain gorillas and also a carbon-rich ecosystem. Just how significant is this move by the DRC?
To say the least, it is mind-boggling. It is extremely significant. At a time when the climate crisis is upon us all, the world is watching with its own eyes, Europe burning, floods and droughts are devastating livelihoods and lives across Africa. And for the Congolese government to persist to go ahead with this auctioning of oil blocks, overlapping peatlands, overlapping some of the most sensitive ecosystems that are protecting us against the climate disaster at this point is by far the most irresponsible thing, the most irresponsible step to take at this moment.
And Mbong, if this does proceed, what are the other long-term impacts to this region, to the world? And at this stage, what can be done to stop this from moving forward?
Well, I guess the impact would continue to be what we're seeing already. It's heat waves, it's floods, it's droughts, which means that farmlands continue to fail. But we are not backing off from this. I think there's millions of Congolese who are also realizing that the promise of oil, the promise of the greatness that happens when we start exploring oil, has never really delivered for most Africans. Oil has proven across the continent to be really have a dark legacy, to be brutal in the way it is used across the African continent, and there are many communities who are committed to resist this. And maybe just to let you know, our team in the DRC just came back from a 2 weeks field trip, visiting at least 21 villages across the Lake Ubemba, where some of these lands which would be affected by the oil blocks auction. And the communities were in total shock and completely ignorant of the fact that this destruction of oil will be coming their way in months to come.
So they had no idea, there was no discussion with them?
Absolutely no discussion. And for these communities, it is like double trouble because they are already living with the threat of human rights abuses from a very colonial approach of forest conservation, which spreads across most of the DRC. And to know that having survived this and still being able to fend from the lakes, to fend from their land, they would now have to deal with the destruction of oil exploration. It's been really scary for them.
No doubt. The government, of course, of the DRC argues that its carbon emissions are less than that of the likes of the UK. Its population is poor, on average living on less than $2 a day. What do you say to that argument, that the DRC should be able to use its natural resources as it sees fit to help get its population out of poverty?
Well, the government has used as many nationalistic lines as it could possibly find over the last few weeks. But I can tell you now that there is really nothing nationalistic about trying to sell off your natural resources to the highest bidder. We know for a fact that a majority of Congolese still live in energy poverty, and investing in clean, decentralized energy sources is definitely the way to go. It's definitely the approach that governments that are committed to lifting up their population from poverty, from hardship, are taking. Auctioning oil, as we see it now, is really just a ploy to reach a select few elites, and it's happened over and over again in the African continent. And to prey on the vulnerability of millions who are desperate for jobs, and we would not get any of such jobs by using such political language is really sad to watch.
And of course, a forest protection deal was signed by representatives of the DRC and the UK government at the COP26 Climate Change Summit. What does this auction mean for that deal?
Well, it really confirms that all of what we've been seeing on the international scene as far as commitments towards the climate imperative goals have really been posturing. And for the DRC to claim that it's a climate solutions country has really just been ironic. We are also eager to see what this means for the deals that were reached in COP last year, and for even the pledges that were made, which went over to $500 million, which were meant for forest protection. We are also curious to see what the implications of this auction that's happening in the DRC tomorrow, Thursday, would mean for the deal.
And do you know of any governments or organizations that are willing to offer some sort of financial compensation to stop this?
I think that is partly where the problem is. I think that we are at a point in the history of the continent where we need to see more leadership coming from Africans themselves. We need to see African leaders really trying to reimagine other ways in which they can get their people out of hardship and poverty and not constantly relying on pledges. I think the mindset around pledges is in itself a problem. We know that pledges were made by the Central African Forest Initiative, and there are many others that have made pledges around trying to protect the forest. But as it stands, the DRC government is bent on moving ahead, thinking that it would make a lot more from oil than from all of those commitments. But at this point, it's really the communities and it's really the people who stand to be affected the most by these oil blocks and this auction that are our best hope to protect and to defend their lands and to defend their forests and to defend the ecosystems that they depend on for survival.
Well, we will continue to follow this story, and it's good that you and your organisation are speaking to people in the community to inform them of what's going on. Thanks very much for your time. Mbong Akiy Fokwa Tsafack from Greenpeace. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.